Okay, we're returning to learn the Dvar Malchut, the Dvar Malchut of this week. And as you remember, the Rebbe is commenting on an event, which was really the end of a whole long series of events, and that is the meetings between the leaders of the world, especially Russia and America, to end war, and to devote the energy and the funds and the attention that they gave to weapons of war to agriculture and to benefiting the world. Now, Chabad has a special interest in Russia because, first of all, Chabad began in Russia, and second of all, Russia became progressively more difficult for Jews to live in. It became progressively more, how do you say, opposed to Judaism. There's a better word, I can't think of it. It became progressively more opposed to Judaism and to God, and to the degree that it really came out against God in all forms. They didn't want any religion of any type whatsoever, nothing whatsoever. Russia. And as a result, Russia became like a big threat to the world because they didn't care about God, so they didn't really care about life that much, right? It just happened to be that if the people were unhappy, they didn't have what to eat, so that wouldn't be good. So in that aspect, they cared about life, governing the people. But all of a sudden, they're making peace. They're making peace, and they're making peace in America, and they're making peace in New York, and they're making peace Erev Shabbos, and they're making peace in the month of Shvat. And they're making peace in the city where the previous Rebbe decided to put Chabad, with the country, Russia, that the previous Rebbe basically began their downfall. At least that's what the Rebbe claims. So the Rebbe said it's not an accident. This is a very monumental thing. And true, I mean, we know afterwards it didn't last, but it doesn't make any difference whether it lasted. It showed that it's a good thing, and it's a desirous thing, and it began. Okay, it had difficulties, but it'll begin again. It'll be again. But main thing, says the Rebbe, it all depended on one person. That one person brought this whole thing about, and that's the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe. And the Rebbe said in this speech that the previous Lubavitcher Rebbe, he is the Moshiach of our generation. And he said last week that he himself is just an extension of the previous Rebbe. But nevertheless, we got a little taste, a foretaste of what Mashiach, one person, can do. Even though it was a short amount of time, but nevertheless, it was there. A king for a day, sort of. Okay, so the Rebbe said that this happened in the week where came Parshat Mishpatim. What is Mishpatim? Is a Torah portion which deals with normal civil monetary laws, which are present in every normal society, has some sort of a legal system in order that there should be proper conduct. People can't just do whatever they want. Right? Nowadays in the world, there's a thing, I don't know if there's ever been such a thing, excuse me, as anarchy. This is a new insanity that's really just grabbed the whole world. I guess it began with the Jew, of course, who beginning with Marx and these people. Anarchy means no government. Anarchy means, I guess maybe it sort of began with Napoleon in a way. There should be no more kings, and then eventually there shouldn't be any rulers. And anyway, how it is, people are bigger experts than me will know it, but there's always some sort of government. Has always been, right? Always been. If there's no government, then there's just total destruction. Total destruction. People do what they want. There's nothing wrong and there's nothing right, and it's just might makes right, and etc. So there's always been government. So this book of the Torah, the Holy Torah given by God, is just saying normal, regular laws. I mean, a lot of them are a little bit hard to understand what exactly the purpose of them is. How, you have to, if you steal an ox, you have to pay 4 times. If a sheep, you have to pay 3 times. How that helps society. Okay, the details have to be dealt. But in general, these laws are regular, normal, human, logical, practical laws. And they're part of the Torah. It says, why are they part of the Torah? To show us that the normal, regular, practical, logical laws have to be done only because God says, not because man says. In other words, the world is God's world. It's not our world. Even the most logical, normal laws are there because God wants them to be. So therefore, your normal laws have to be according to the Torah. I just saw right now a terrible thing. I mean, if you say that man determines the laws, and that let man determine the laws, so and it's hard to believe. But I mean, I know that it's true. In England now, they have the Pakistanis, and they are Muslims. According to Islam, if you conquer a nation, you can rape anyone you want to. You can do anything you want to the people, anything. So they take little children and they rape them and they kill them and they drink their blood. I mean, just, it was hard to listen to, even though I know that these things exist. But it still is hard to listen to things like that. And no one does anything. No one does anything. No one takes any action against them. Why? Because it's their laws. You have a right to your laws, right? If they catch, Trump or something like that, he had relations with a 13-year-old girl, 15-year-old girl. But in Islam, you can get married to a 5-year-old girl. But that's their laws. That's their laws. You have a right to your laws. You have a right to. But if you say the laws are God's laws, and you have to go according to God's laws, then it doesn't make that much difference what human intellect says. Human intellect is very important, but it's important secondary. Primary is what God wants. You'll see it then if human intellect works according into that, right? God wants you to be intellectual. He wants you to use your mind. He wants you to make your own laws. He wants you to, but they have to be according to the laws of the Torah. But the non-Jews according to the 7 Noahide commandments. In fact, one of the 7 Noahide commandments is you have to make laws in order to enforce the other 6. All the other six Noahide commandments are prohibitions. Don't worship idols. Don't steal. Don't lie. And you have one of them is to make courts in order to enforce the other 6. The 6. So you have to have courts, but nevertheless there has to be courts. Courts are normal things. So he says that's the idea of this peace that was made. This whole peace which was made was taking normal countries which have normal, regular laws and using, but that they should accept on themselves that in order to have one unified legal system, that eventually you're going to have to accept what God's laws are. And what are God's laws? Not what everybody says. Not this really. Only one time that God appeared in the world and said his laws was when he gave the Torah. He appeared to millions of people. He gave us laws. So eventually it's going to come to that. That's not what they discussed in the United Nations, but eventually it's going to come to that, this idea of unity. So he said, therefore, this happened in Parshas Mishpatim itself. It's connected to the idea of the end of exile and the beginning of the redemption. Because it talks about the explanation of these laws of this week's Torah portion in the Talmud. In the Talmud. Oh, excuse me. Parte Adinim, these individual laws which are in this week's Torah portion, you get an English the Bible, and read the book of in this week's Torah portion, what the laws are. These are laws, interpersonal laws between man and his fellow. They are explained, but they're explained in the oral Torah. Where are they explained? In the 3 books of the Torah, which are called Nezikin. There's Baba Kama and Baba, well, not the 3, I'm sorry. In the books which are called Nezikin, there's Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Batra, and then there's Sanhedrin and Avodah Zarah and all these other laws. All of the Nezikin, it says, there's one opinion that says that Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Batra, the word Baba means the gate. So there's each tractate, which is called the first gate, the middle gate, and the last gate, that one opinion that says that they're all really one tractate. But it was just divided into 3. It says that the first tractate of Nezikin, of the laws of damages, is really one, and it was divided into 3. Baba Kama, and it starts off with Baba Kama. The whole idea of Baba Kama, that's the name of the Talmud. It's called Daber al Nezikin. It's talking about damages. Like, for instance, an ox, your ox damaged my ox, or a hole. You dug a hole in the middle of a public domain. My animal fell into it. A fire. I lit a fire and went. What about a person that damages someone else's property? Hits a person in the eye, knocks out his eye. A judge cannot make judgments until he removes the damages from people, the danger. Therefore, it starts off, first of all, with these laws of damages. That's Baba Kama. Talks about damages. First thing a judge has to do is remove danger, remove damages. No, after that, there's what's called Baba Metzu. It's called the middle gate. That's talking about the monetary cases. Monetary cases. If I lend you something, you don't pay me back. If I entrust you with something and you wreck it, right? If I pay you money, I pay you money to watch my car and you don't watch it, or you pay me money to rent my car, like it says in the Torah, in this week's Torah portion. So just like in this week's Torah portion, first of all, it talks about damages, and then it talks about interpersonal monetary things. And then afterwards is Baba Batra. That's talking about land. This is talking about dividing up land and renting a house and partnerships. And this is in order to I'm just sharing. Shakula Kabbalah, the Divrei Sforos, Lunis Torah. All these laws, excuse me, the laws in the Talmud. The Talmud is very unique. Listen, how does this thing go? It goes like this. God gave the Torah, but he gave the Torah in what's called shorthand. Every letter of the Torah is holy. If one letter of the Torah is missing, then the Torah is not kosher. But the Torah is not understandable. The Torah is very easy to misunderstand, very easy to misinterpret. It demands interpretation. The Torah is not, the laws are there, many laws. The laws are very exact, but they're not clear. They're not clear. If one letter is missing, then something is wrong. That's very exact, but it's not clear. Why did God do this? Because there's a commandment to learn the Torah. It's a commandment. The Torah has to be explained, not interpreted. It has to be explained. Sort of a misnomer to say there's the commentaries on the Torah. It's true they're commentaries, but they're really explanations of the Torah. And there's a lot of room for contradictory explanations. But when it comes to what you have to do, then there's no place for contradictions. You have to know what to do. You have to know what actually to do. So therefore, they put all these contradictions in the Talmud, and these great rabbis discussed these ideas, and they come to a conclusion. Now, all of these rabbis are not just people from the street like me and you. These are very, very holy people, devoted totally and singularly to the truth. They didn't get paid for doing this. They gave from their lives in order to have the Torah explained properly. And God wanted them to have different opinions. And God wanted them to agree if their opinion was voted down. But the people who were voting on the opinion were not just people from the street. These were tremendously holy people. And it says that the people that are disparagingly called the Pharisees, it says that the least of them had the ability to raise the dead. Raise the dead. This whole religion is based on a person that they claim he raised the dead. It says that they read the stories in Avodah Zarah. Well, they raised the dead. They made a human being. It says they made a golem. Those are even the people afterwards, Rabban. So what they're discussing now is not just Judaism. They're discussing the will and the wisdom of God himself. What God wants from the world. As I repeated 1,000 times, and I'll repeat it 1,000 more times, this physical world is very, very important to God. It says in the end of the 6 days of creation, right before Shabbat, God saw everything he had done in the world, and it was very good. Tov me'od. The physical world is very, very important to God. Every detail, every moment, every human being is very important to God, especially the Jews. God put this whole business in the hands of the Jews. So what they do. So that's the whole idea of the laws of damages. That's what this Torah portion talks about, and that's what the Talmud explains at very great length. Okay, now we get the soul. It's explained in the Zohar that what? Talat beti dinim tiknu. That 3 courts of justice, the rabbis, they arranged the Mishnah, Chada Kanmita, Ba'arba Avot Nezikim. The first of Baba Kama is talking about the 4 types of damages. Tanina, the middle one, this is Aramaic. Tanina is talking about talit, a garment, the eshkechach, which is found between 2 people. 2 people are arguing over a garment. Each one says that he bought it. Talitai, the third one, is talking about partners. And that is the secret of losing things and finding them. Orach the Kra, the Naktu, the Torah, the Talmud is taking the order of the Kra, of the Torah, of the written Torah. It was taken, like it says, I'll call Davar Pesha on every sort of a crime, on a shore, on an ox, Al Chamor, and on a donkey. That's Baba Kama. That's the first tractate. The Hachihu Be'inan Milin. So it is, it deals with these things until Salma. The next thing it says, if to bring to the courts, if you have damages from an ox or a question of a garment that is Baba Mitzvah. It's one sentence from the third portion. I'll call Aveda, anything that was lost, that's Baba Batra. Namely, that the 3 sections of damages of the Baba Batra, Baba Kama, Baba Mitzvah, Babata, they're all hinted in one sentence. I'll call Davar Pesha in this week. Okay, so what does this got to do with me and you? The laws of damages. The laws of damages is talking about the whole time of exile. And the time of exile can be divided into 3 sections, corresponding to the 3 general exiles that we have been in. Mainly when there are in the world things that are bad. The Jewish people have been subjected to 3 exiles. We're in the middle of the 3rd one right now. I'm sorry, I take it back. We're in the end of the 3rd one right now. The first one was Egypt. The Jewish people were born in exile. We didn't do anything wrong. We didn't do any sins. We didn't have a chance to do any sins. We were born in exile. Then we got out of exile. We came to the land of Israel. We built the first temple and it was destroyed by Babylonians. We were 70 years in Babylonian exile. That's the second exile. Then we came back to Israel. We built a temple, and the second temple was also destroyed. And now we are in the third exile. It's called the exile of Rome, Edom. So this corresponds to the three books of damages: Baba Kama, Baba Metzia, Baba Batra. Damages. The whole time of exile is called damages. The Jewish people are being damaged, and consequently, the whole world is being damaged. Beginning, first of all, with the first book of damages, what's called the four basic, the basic damages. Four basic damages. That's Baba Kama. That's the exile that we are in now. Similarly, also, arguments and different, how do you say, excuse me, arguments and confusion. This one says the garment belongs to me. This one says belongs to me. You have to divide it. Nobody gets exactly what they want. That's the second book of damages, Baba Metzia, of exile. And okay, so what do we see now? The Jewish people are in exile. So first of all, there is damages. We're being damaged all over the place. Second, that's the first Baba Kama. Then there is confusion, arguments. That's Baba Metzia. Finally, there is Baba Batra. That's the third book of damages, which is the end and the completion of exile. Which at the beginning starts off with partners that want to make a division. So how does it begin, Baba Batra? That there's two people that own one plot of land and they want to divide it. That's how it starts. Shutfin sherotzim lasot mechitza, to divide the land. Shemarutza tzevrotzon atov, from their own goodwill. The lo yachach, no one is forcing them. They want to. Sherotzu, they want to make a division between them. This is talking about the end of exile. They speak between them in a very calm way in order to remove any damages. Namely, what in this case, what's the damage? They don't want each one, they want privacy. Each one wants privacy. And it ends up what? That's how it ends up. A person that wants to become wise, he should work in the laws of damages of the Torah. Because of these damages in the time of exile, this increases wisdom. That increases the wisdom of the Torah. That's Sinai, but often in a way that choderes, that it comes into, not just in us, into the world. The laws, judgments. Okay, now again, we have to remember the Rebbe is trying to show us that the fact that this peace meeting was made in this week's Torah portion of Mishpatim is not just an accident. That the whole idea of this week's Torah, because the world is ruled by the Torah, and even though we don't see it all the time, but that's the fact, and sometimes we do see it, and that's what the Rebbe is pointing out to us. This week's Torah portion is talking about regular mundane laws, and especially it's talking about laws which are relevant to the time of exile. The Jewish people are in a time of confusion, and these laws are coming to clarify and to remove the confusion of the laws, because these are laws according to what God wants. So the same thing is that the nations of the world, the reason that they've been warring with each other and opposing each other is only because of the exile. The Jewish people are in exile, and therefore, consequently, the whole world is in a state of confusion. And the Torah is what's going to make this confusion into order, into law. And that's why they got to this meeting was like the final meeting of all these peace summits that they've been making, was made in this week's Torah portion of Mishpatim, taking the normal laws of humanity and using them according to what God wants. And by means of this, Batla will negate the Nishlal, and it will it will make impossible any even potential of things that are bad, any damages. And Basiyam v'Gemara Golos, in the end of exile, Sha'az then Itchila Golos, then will be the true redemption of all humanity. Gula Shlishis, that'll be the end of the third exile, and it'll be the third redemption, and it'll be a triple redemption that transforms all of the previous exiles that we had, and by means of what? The third temple. And the third temple will also be triple. It will include inside of it a tabernacle that the Jews used when they left Egypt until the first temple was built, and the first temple and the second temple. It will transform the exile and the destruction of these temples into a building, a third building, which will include all three of them. And to add on, that in the tractate of Baba Batra, which is the end of exile, is indicated the end of exile, is hinted at the true redemption by means of the Moshiach. So I just want to think. In the future, the idea of Mashiach is supposed to be that there's going to be world peace. One of the reasons that the economists of the world, like 99% of the economists, whatever, they say that there's too many people in the world. There's too many people in the world. And because there's too many people, so what's going to happen? That everybody's going to be all uptight and all aggravated, and there's not going to be enough food. And eventually people are going to be so aggravated by other people that there's going to be a big war. And then everybody's going to get killed. Then everybody's going to get killed. So it's better that we should limit the population and keep it down. And hence comes all these pro-abortionist people, and they bring all these, family planning and things like that. And it's for the benefit of those who are alive. If we have too many people, then everybody's going to die. So it's like the abortion movement and that's really pro-life, huh? That's really pro-life. Killing these hundreds of millions of babies and fetuses, that's pro-life because it's helping me, and people that are like me. And the Rebbe is trying to tell us that it's exactly the opposite, that God has enough to provide for everybody. And the whole purpose of the redemption is that there's not going to be any more strife. There's not going to be any more wars. People will put their attention on God instead of on themselves, on the Creator instead of the creation. And what is the Creator thinking about all the time? He's thinking about the creation. If you put it in his hands, it's going to be much better. Then there's going to be enough room for billions and trillions of people. The more people, the better. You say it's impossible because you're looking at it from your eyes, and therefore there are damages. That's what's called exile. Who says that's the whole idea of these three tractates. There's Baba Kama is talking about damages. Baba Metzia is talking about arguments. But Baba Batra, the last one, is talking about finally making peace, partnership. And that's going to be done by means of the Mashiach. Besugi, do it like it's known. Shabbat, that in it is talking about many, many things of what's going to be in the future. That's in Sanhedrin. Which Sanhedrin is also part of the Tractate of Damages, part of the, what is it called? Not tractate, it's, what's it in English? What do they say? Anyway, it's part of this, the topic of damages. Umihem, from them, one of the things it says in Sanhedrin about the Mashiach is Atid HaKodesh Baruch Hu, that God is going to make a meal. And he's going to make a meal for the tzaddikim. And for the tzaddikim is going to be they're going to have a meal from the flesh, from the meat of this big fish. Eh? Is it worthwhile, all the exile for this fish? We'll see. Atid HaKodesh Baruch Hu, that God is going to make a sukkah. He's going to make a big, what do you call a sukkah? A big temporary building for all the tzaddikim. And it's going to be from the skin of this fish that they eat. Huh? And it says, Samti kadkod shimshotayech. It says, it will make, this is a sentence from Isaiah. And it will make, where is this? Oh, Samti kadkod shimshotayech. It says, I will make a like a sort of a what is it, a ceiling, a crown or something. Shimshotayech. These are the stones from the walls of Jerusalem. What type of stones are these going to be? One of them says it's going to be shoham. These are the stones of in the breastplate of the high priest. One of them says it's going to be yashfeh. It says shoham is some sort of a stone. One of these two, I don't know which one. One of these is a stone that shines from itself. Phosphorus, who knows what it is? There's such a stone like that. Anyway, it shines itself. It breaks. And the other one is that it reflects the light of the sun. Omer HaKodesh Baruch Hu, says God, the Kadena Kanen, it's going to be both. It's going to be both reflecting the light of the sun and shine on itself. In the future, God is going to elevate Jerusalem 3 parsaot. What does it mean? 3 miles above, spiritually. Like it says, Vara'ama v'yashva tachtea. It says it will be elevated and everyone will sit under it. V'shama, then v'shema, maybe you'll say yesh tsar lalot. Maybe it is difficult. People will say, hey, where are we going? Talmud where it says mi ela ka'ev ta'ofena ukayonim al aravoteha. It says there will be no, they will raise up like a cloud. They will float up and like doves on its with its wings. Where does it say that? 85 in Isaiah, sends Isaiah. So in other words, the whole world, especially Jerusalem, will be elevated. And also a sugya talking about dividing the land of Israel. It says in the few, it says also the dividing up the land of Israel among the different tribes in the future. So in other words, what's the Rebbe saying? This whole idea of world peace that there's going to be is going to be done by the Creator himself. And just as God really cares about the world, so we see that God is very, very involved in physical details. Physical details are very important to God, at least the God of Israel. And that's the only God. Physical details. And therefore, the Mashiach is going to bring the third temple. And all the Jews are going to be gathered. But even more, it says that all these amazing spiritual things are going to be translated into physicality. There's going to be some sort of a fish, and the tzaddikim, which is basically all the Jews, are going to eat from its meat. And there's going to be a big sukkah, a big huge, a big tent, something like that. It's a sukkah, and it's going to be made from the skin of this fish that they're going to eat. and the walls of Jerusalem will be precious stones that are going to shine on themselves, and they're going to shine the light of God, right, in the whole world. And Jerusalem's going to fly up in the air, etc. Okay. Alpi Almor Le'el, what we said before, mitchazeket yoter, this strengthens even more. Haplia, the surprise and the wonder about the Gadol Hatzar, Habahala, until it's so painful, we shouldn't, that everything is going to be so good and so wonderful, and God is going to do all these things. But what does that mean now? How can it possibly be that the Jews are still in exile? Ad matai, how long is it going to continue this way? Hayatachen, is it possible that after all of these signs that we've got, we had the falling of the Iron Curtain, we had Saddam Hussein shot all these missiles and they blew up buildings, and no one was hurt in Israel. No one was hurt in Israel. And the Rebbe was the one he predicted this exactly before it happened. He told Professor Brownover, prepare buildings in Jerusalem. This is like half a year or something before. Prepare the housing in Jerusalem. All of a sudden, the walls are going to fall. The Iron Curtain's going to fall, and people are going to get out of. Who would have dreamed a thing like that? The Rebbe told everybody in Israel, everyone was saying it's going to be terrible destruction. And the Rebbe said, Israel is the safest place in the world. Everyone should go. Don't cancel your travel plans and go into Israel. Don't worry about it, the Rebbe said. There's not going to be any chemical warfare. There's not going to be any biological warfare. There's not going to be any. The Rebbe said, do what they tell you. But the fact is, you don't have to put on any masks, gas masks. Everybody walked around with gas masks with things like that, right? They were crazy. Chabad also did, not to make confusion, because the officials were saying that exactly what the Rebbe said was right. All of a sudden, now the Rebbe says they're making peace. Look, there's meeting. After all of these signs, these wonderful things, the fact of the matter is that the Jewish people are still in exile, in a deep and a terrible, awful, painful exile. Hayatachan can be, how can it possibly be that after all this, that all these signs that the redemption has to come immediately, that it says even the non-Jews are announcing that has come the time to fulfill the prophecy of Isaiah and pound their swords into plows. How can it possibly be that we're still right now in Shabbat, we're outside of the land of Israel? We're found in a place together with all the Jewish people from all of the world, instead of being found with all of the Jews together in the Holy Land, in Jerusalem, the holy city. Now, the Rebbe is not suggesting we should go to Israel. The only one who's going to bring all of the Jews to Israel is Moshiach. I mean, not only that, Moshiach is going to even do a bigger miracle. He's going to bring the Israelis back to Israel. You know how many Israelis left Israel? He's going to bring the Israelis back to Israel. Only Moshiach is going to do it. But the Rebbe says, okay, so why hasn't the Moshiach come? Why aren't we in Jerusalem with the Holy Temple? This is not just a thing that we're talking about. It's going to happen any day now. This is a thing that should have happened yesterday, says the Rebbe. What's going on over here? We should already be sitting in front of the table and eating this meal with Leviathan. And more, the main thing is, Shadayan lo nitkabla hoda, vatzivwe natinat koach, asalim mikdash v'shechanti b'tochem. We have not yet received the commandment to make a holy temple and to dwell within it, to build a third temple. If so, what are we supposed to do? Says the Rebbe, from this, and we're going to have to do this tomorrow, mizeh, from this, we can understand the great necessity that we must add on in more power, more enthusiasm, more energy, whether in quantity or in quality, in everything that in any way that brings sooner the future redemption. And the Rebbe is going to enumerate what these things are, as we're going to find out tomorrow. First of all, giving charity. Of course. Learning more Torah. Inspiring other people to do commandments and to learn Torah. And charity brings the future redemption. That's how we start off every day's classes. But we have to do it. God willing, tomorrow we'll be in Jerusalem with Moshiach. In which case, we probably won't have a Zoom class. But if, God forbid, Moshiach does not come and build the Holy Temple, which the Rebbe said from right now, when there is no Holy Temple, until the Holy Temple is open for business, could be 24 minutes. The Mikdash Hashem will come from heaven, 24 minutes, the whole thing can be ready. In any case, if we don't hear about that tomorrow, there will be a class tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning. But barring that, there is no logical reason why Mashiach can't come immediately and do the temple right now. We've been saying this already for 2,000 years. Okay, it's enough. We've been saying it enough. But for sure, it has to come now. As we'll talk about more, God willing, or we will see tomorrow. Now let's do the Yom Yom.